Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to another week of Trauma Recovery University. I'm your host, Athena Moberg, and this is my amazing co-host, Bobby Parrish. And today's topic is money. Money and shame. Money and how it could be a source of shame if you are a survivor of abuse. We're going to go through our one-page resource today like we always do and sort of unpack all the different ways that shame from money can show up in our lives. If you are an adult who has survived any type of child abuse, chances are you were raised in an environment that was not conducive to learning or calmness or proper life and social skills. You could be socially inept. You could struggle with job interviews, holding down a job, which translates into struggles of you being able to make money and save money, provide for your family. All of those hit our shame triggers, and it is just so prevalent, and you don't even realize that it came from, or the source of it could be something that was 20, 30, 40 years ago. You could just be beating yourself up for the last 20 years or so, like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this right? Well, the reason you might not be able to do it right is because maybe the environment you were raised in was not an environment that fostered any type of proper learning or patience, or those skills may not have been modeled for you. So we're going to unpack all of that. That is just a whole big mouthful that I just said. And my amazing partner, Bobby Parrish, is going to walk us through our one-page resource with lots of research that we've done on this topic. And as always, if you are tuning in on a podcast platform, we want to give you a very special welcome. We love all of you that have subscribed on iTunes or Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, or even iHeartRadio. We want to remind you that this is a video broadcast. And if you have a Roku TV or a Roku device, you can look for us and find us at Trauma Recovery University. And if you have YouTube, you can go to youtube.com/Trauma Recovery University TV. Or you could simply go to bit.ly/Trauma Recovery U. And you can also find us on Twitter at Trauma Recovery U, and you'll be able to click and have a link. So as always, this is an interactive broadcast. We do look forward to receiving your questions, your feedback, and any of the tweets that you feel like sending so that we can randomly answer your questions and you can be a part of our live studio audience per se. So without further ado, I do just want to thank you once again and remind you that we are so grateful that you have chosen to spend this hour with us. We really treasure your time and your attention and your love and your encouragement and your emails and tweets and Facebook posts and all of your deaths that you send us on CyberDesk, and just the amazing way that you connect with us. So as a thank you for being one of our loyal listeners or viewers or subscribers or just awesome survivors, we want to say thank you by giving you a complimentary downloadable resource. You can access this complimentary downloadable resource in PDF format by going to traumarecoveryuniversity.com and click on the tab that says Downloadables. You'll be given immediate access to today's one-page downloadable resource, which is titled Money and Shame, down towards the bottom. You will also be given access to our entire library of downloadable resources. So again, thank you so much for spending time with us today. We look forward to giving you very relevant examples of how money and shame show up in the lives of adult survivors of childhood abuse. And with that, I would love to just turn it all over to Bobby. Take it away, Bobby.
Thanks, Athena. I'm sorry for my camera being late. Just before we were ready to go on the air, my entire computer crashed. And so I had to restore back to the original factory sets, and my nice webcam with the HD 1080p has not yet been installed. So you're getting my regular webcam, and I'm sorry, it's kind of fuzzy, but I want to remind you of a couple of things. And the first is that we have our second annual Survivor Anthology that we're now accepting submissions for. If you want to go to traumarecoveryuniversity.com and click on the tab that says book, you'll see all the details. We published our first anthology last November during No More Shame November, which is an advocacy campaign we put on every November. And there you'll find all the details for submission, what we're accepting, how you should submit, when you should submit. And we're taking submissions, I believe, until June 1st. And they can be poetry or an essay, but they do need to be nonfiction. We're not accepting fiction stories. And this year have a theme of recovering together, meaning how have you interacted with another survivor? How have you interacted with a community of survivors that has helped your healing process? I also want to remind you that our 2 summer conferences are coming up. The first is in Atlanta, and that one will be up for registration very soon. It is the first weekend in June. I'll look at my calendar here. June 5th, 6th, and 7th. And the second one is the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And that one will be in Portland, Oregon. That one, too, we're kind of waiting for some funding to come together before we can select a venue, but we will let you know as soon as we have that information. If you want to go over to traumarecoveryuniversity.com and sign up for our newsletter, our email list, I promise that you'll be the first to know when we have registration information ready. I think that's about it. Athena, can you think of anything else in terms of public service announcements?
I don't think so, but I think I would love to share with everyone that I am getting on a plane in a couple of hours, and I am flying to Dallas to meet Bobby for the very first time. And we're going to be recording some very special videos that we'll be putting up on our Roku TV channel and our YouTube channel that will be available only to survivors or only to subscribers. And so we just encourage you to subscribe to our channel and tell a friend that you know that is an adult survivor of any type of child abuse, not just child sexual abuse. There is a flurry of different things going on out there this week specifically. Well, because this is April and it is Sexual Abuse Awareness Month. But this week there was an interview done by Barbara Walters, and there's some sort of sensationalistic view of a child who was raped by their teacher and so on and so forth. So we know there's a lot of stuff going on out there. We do just want to encourage you that if you're triggered or if you have questions or you have feedback on any of that, Bobby did write an incredible article on this topic, and you can find that over at rachelintheoc.com, and it's the very first article. Otherwise, just Google Bobby Parrish and you'll find amazing articles. I'm pretty sure it's going to get picked up by the Good Men Project, probably Yahoo, probably HuffPo. There are people that are emailing 2020 specifically and personally because of the article that Bobby Parrish has written on this topic. So she's not going to say that for herself because she's not self-promoting, but I'm going to promote the heck out of her because I'm so proud of her bravery and what she's done to speak up about this topic that she's so passionate about. So I know that was a really, again, a huge mouthful. I'm getting on a plane. I'm flying to Dallas and meeting Bobby for the first time. We're going to be recording some crazy stuff, and you just need to Google her. So that's all I have to say. And we can transition right onto our topic of money and shame if you like, Bobby. But I'm just overjoyed that I'm going to be able to meet you for the very first time and give you a real hug and not a cyber hug, and record incredible resources for all of the abuse survivors out there, live in person, with just the incredible energy that we already have with one another as we work together virtually. Seeing one another on Skype and on Google+. And we haven't even started using Meerkat or Periscope yet, but we are going to be doing some of those things. And the only people that are going to be able to get those is if you subscribe to us. So yeah, I just can't encourage you enough to share what it is that we do with other people if you believe in what it is that we're doing. And we just appreciate you guys so much. So, and we talk about what you want us to talk about. We get your tweets, we get your emails, we set our topics because of what you ask for. And yeah, I guess that's all I had to say. I'm so excited about our live events. And in addition to the buttons that we're going to have on the website for you to purchase tickets to register for these events, we also have a button that we're adding to the website for sponsorships. If you would like to sponsor an event, you're not an abuse survivor, but you know someone who is, or maybe you are an abuse survivor, but you want to sponsor an event. Maybe you want your company to sponsor an event, or you want to sponsor an event anonymously. That's been the most popular thing that I've been asked. So if you're interested in sponsorship, don't hesitate to reach out. We love you. We appreciate you. We couldn't do this without you. And I think that's all. I know I just have so much to say. Maybe I had too much coffee.
Well, you know, I don't think many people know that although you and I have been working together for a year now in terms of doing Twitter chats and putting all these resources together for survivors, that we have never met in person. So I'm so excited that that's going to happen, and that we're actually going to be able to sit down and work right next to each other rather than texting and emailing and Skyping and hangouting and all that stuff. So we're just going to turn the camera on and we're going to talk. You guys, there's so much that we have to talk about. So please go over, subscribe. This is really going to be something special. So we're so excited to be able to provide this information for you. But right now, let's go ahead and jump into our topic, money and shame. This morning's chat, which we have 2 Twitter chats a week. The first one of the week is Monday, and it's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time if you're in the US. And we started this one late last year, primarily for our British peeps, because our inaugural Twitter chat on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I have all these time zones in my head. I'm translating. It's at 2 o'clock in their morning. And so we were having a growing audience of UK followers, but they couldn't participate in the Twitter chat. So we started this new Twitter chat. And so what we do is we have the first Twitter chat of the week, then we have our Google Hangout, and then tomorrow we'll have our second Twitter chat of the week. And so you'll see us carry the same theme through all of those if you're not familiar with our process. This morning's Twitter chat was crazy good. Just crazy good with the honesty that people were talking about the topic. And there were multiple people who said, I didn't realize that I wasn't the only one who felt this way, that I'm not the only one who has struggled with handling money, that I'm not the only one who has problems with their credit, is, you know, tens of thousands of dollars in debt, or I'm the only one who spent so much time in recovery that I wasn't able to develop the career that I wanted. So I'm, 30, 40 years old, and I'm still working minimum wage jobs. And it always is the most magical thing to see survivors realize that they are not alone in what they feel. And every time they feel that way, part of their shame is wiped away. Athena and I say that community is shame's kryptonite. And you ever want to see that in action? I mean, really, truly in action, come and watch. Just watch one of our Twitter chats. You don't have to participate if you don't want to, but just watch the magic of all of our community coming together and going, nope, you're not weird. Nope, you're not a freak. Nope, you don't belong in a dark corner, isolated from the rest of us because you're different from the rest of us. And we talked about the connection between money and shame. We talked about the connection between acceptance of ourselves and money and shame. Athena talked about how oftentimes when we grow up in a disruptive, I'm watching my cat. I think he's going to come over here in a second. When you grow up in a disruptive and dysfunctional environment, learning how to balance a checkbook or do a budget is the farthest thing from your mind. You're just trying to survive from day to day to day. If you want to hear some horror stories about just surviving from day to day, Athena has some of those. And I won't put her on the spot, but she tells stories about having to eat raisins covered in ants because that was literally the only food she could get her hands on. So when you are that hardcore having to survive, you're not thinking about money. You're not thinking about managing money. Your parent is not sitting down next to you and saying, okay, let's start a savings account for you. Here, I'll help you set up a checking account. You need to know how ATM card works. We didn't get any of that. And so, of course, that's a handicap. We grow up and we become adults and we have jobs and we have to manage money, we have to manage debt, we have to manage bills, but nobody gave us those skills. And so again, we're stuck parenting ourselves and we have a gap in our life skills. And if that's you, there's no shame in that. There's absolutely not. So if you feel that way, I just want to tell you it's wrong. It's a lie. You shouldn't feel ashamed. But then it's a double whammy because our society tends to hang someone's worth on the hat peg of how much they make. And it's unfortunate, but the general rule in our society is that people who have, jobs where they make high five figures are more acceptable than those of us who make, four figures or low five figures. And what kind of job you have is important. The person who works at McDonald's is not seen as valuable as the legal secretary or the executive at the life insurance office. All of those things come into play. And so we're set up, we're primed to feel shame already from our abuse. And now we're in this world that values people who make and have a lot of money. And guess what? We don't have the skills. And so now we're ashamed even more. And when we feel shame, what do? We avoid, we run, we hide. And when you're dealing with money, running and hiding is not a good thing because it just gets you in all sorts of trouble. So this morning, we had a lot of people talking about avoidance and how they used avoidance to deal with their money issues. And it just got worse and worse. And so what do you do then? You avoid more. And it gets worse. And it gets worse. So I'm here to tell you I struggle with this. I really do. I'm 49 years old. And I spent probably the first 40 years of my life surviving my abuse and then recovering from it. And really and truly only now in the last 5 years or so have really come into my own career-wise. And I look at my peers in the same age group. My college sends out these little flyers about, what's everybody doing for your grad year. And they're CEOs. They're the manager of this. They're the CFO of that because they've been in their career field now for 27 years. And I haven't. And so I'm tempted. It's really tempting to look at me where I am and look at them and go, oh, I'm not as successful. I'm not as good as them. But it's not true. That's the lie that society tells us. That's the lie that our abuse tells us. But if those are the kinds of things that are going through your head, you're not alone either. So Athena and I both can stand here and say, we get it. We understand. And you are not alone at all. Athena, do you have anything to add? I'm going to kick my cat out of my office here for a second, and I'm going to let you talk for a minute while I do that.
Yeah, no problem. It's okay. Be gentle with your kitty cat. She just wants to say hi.
Hi to all of you.
What I wanted to add to what it is that Bobby had just mentioned about not being as far along in our career as other people because of our abuse, perhaps because we weren't raised with those life skills that are so necessary to function socially and professionally. I don't want you or anyone listening or anyone that you refer this video to mistake us talking openly about this topic with us making excuses for, oh, poor us, we're victims, we can't do anything right, we don't have the proper skills, we don't know how to make money, we were never taught that, it's all our parents' fault, we can't get ahead in life, we're going to stay stuck like this forever, it must be somebody else's fault because it can't be my fault because I'm the one who was abused. I don't want you to mistake us talking openly about this topic and equipping you with steps that will help you today with a victim mentality or an excuse for not being as far along as we should. Because we are here to tell you, and you guys know how passionate I am about this particular angle, because I have been told my entire life, oh, you just love to play the victim, don't you? And I think you all have been following us long enough over the past year or so to know that that's definitely not my mentality or my mindset. So I sort of get pretty passionate when I think that something we say could possibly be construed in that light. So we want to be very, very, very clear that we know we were set at a disadvantage at a very young age because we were being raped or abused by our family members or loved ones or coaches or pastors or whomever it might have been. But that's not the end of our story. We have not only dug our heels in and worked 10 times harder than other people had to, but we're coming out on top, and we're making it farther and faster, and maybe not exactly the same. It doesn't look the same as other people, but we are victorious. We are successful. We are amazing. We are powerful. We are helping people. We are changing lives. We are equipping people with the tools necessary to feel not only that what happened to them is atrocious and horrible, but that they don't have to stay stuck there. They're in a community of people that is safe, that is going to say, wow, I'm really sorry that you lived through those situations that you lived through. That is horrible. Those things should never happen to anyone. I'm so sorry you lived through that. Now let's help one another. Let's encourage one another, and let's equip one another with the skills and the tools and the resources we need to get ahead faster, because we're stronger together. So I think that would be the only footnote to the awesomeness that you already shared, Bobby, because everything you shared was on point. I just really want to reiterate, as always, that we are not sitting here in a big pile of our crap going, let's just play with our crap. Let's just play with all this crap. We're stuck. We're going to stay stuck in our crap. That's not what we're doing. We are standing up, and we are equipping other people, and we are reaching out, and we're going, you know what? This is really, 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 really hard, and you are not going to be able to undo 40 years of struggle overnight, but you're going to be around other people who can encourage you, and that's where we come in, and that's where you guys come in. So I think that would be the exclamation point to what it is that you said, Bobby.
Yeah, and I think you're so right. What we're here about is to offer you an explanation and an education, not an excuse. None of us get a free pass because of what happened to us, but we can help you find the energy, the encouragement, the skills and support that you need within our community to learn what you need to learn, and like Athena said, to be successful. So that's really what our one page is about. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to that.
Yeah. As Bobby is getting ready to pull up that one page, I want to share with you guys, there is a particular area of our one page that Bobby is going to be bringing up here in just a moment. And when we get to that area of the one page, I want to share an incredible story with you guys that turned some light bulbs on for me in a good way. It shed the light on my abuse and some things that happened during my abuse that could have possibly handicapped me, and then some steps that I have taken and some things that I have learned along the way. So don't go away. Stay with us, because this is just about ready to get amazing.
I don't know. I think it's kind of always amazing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I'm so modest too.
No, we're always amazing, because you know what? I just feel like this is what we were equipped to do. This is what we're born to do. And when you have something that you were born to do, it just is amazing, because you're filled with everything that you need to live out your purpose. So that looks awesome, Bobby. I can see it perfect.
Oh, okay. And the first couple of paragraphs are going to reiterate what Athena and I both already talked about. That as survivors of childhood abuse, we grow up sensitized to acceptance and approval. Okay, everyone every child, not just children who are abused, come into this world with a need for acceptance and approval from their caregivers. It's just part of the package of needs that we were all given when we were born. But because for the most part, we were probably denied approval and acceptance as children, it almost leaves us more hungry for it than had we had those needs fulfilled. And so we grow up with this ache in the middle of our being, with this hunger for someone please accept us, and someone please approve of what we're doing. And then we turn to the things that the world tells us will earn us the acceptance and approval. And one of those things is how much money we have, what kind of job we have, and how much money we can acquire, and then how many things we can have because we've acquired that money. And it gets even worse for those of us who didn't, like I said earlier, we didn't get, and like Athena said, we didn't get that money management skills. So we are at a double disadvantage. And then, like I talked about just a bit ago, we're at another disadvantage. Here's the third one, because we've spent time in recovery when other people have had a chance to practice those money management skills. And some people, their recovery is so difficult that they're actually disabled and unable to work. And that's a whole nother setup for how we feel about our worth and that shame that comes with it. So if you have a history of mismanaging money, if the amount of money you make is a source of shame in your life, or if you struggle with money management, please know that you are not alone. You know, Athena and I have talked about this issue multiple times, and yet I was still surprised this morning in chat with the unanimous statement from people that this is an issue for them too. You know, the more that I work with trauma survivors, the more I see these commonalities. Our trauma may have been different. The way we experienced it was different. Who we experienced it with was different. But we have these amazing commonalities. It's not always a pleasant commonality, but I go back to the fact that there is nothing more reassuring and shame shedding than knowing that the person sitting next to you or on the other end of the Twitter stream has the same experience with money that you have. And it makes it not okay, and like Athena said, not an excuse, but suddenly you have understanding and you have a whole lot less shame. So here are some tips to help you out. Athena, just jump in whenever you have your personal story to tell us or experience, okay?
I will. It's right after the first bullet point.
Okay, so learn how to manage your money rather than it managing you. And I realize that for some people, these may feel like elementary steps, but truly, if you never got this, if you never had anybody explain all these things to you, then this is necessary. We need help learning how to set a budget, how to start a savings account, and how to pay down your debt. There are multiple methods of paying down your debt. I would say maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I had a wonderful woman by the name of Amy Robles write an article for Rachel in the OC's blog about survivors and money management. And so go back to rachelintheoc.com and it's there. And so just Google rachelintheoc.com, Amy Robles, and you find the blog post. And she talks about the multiple different ways that you can set yourself up to pay down your debt. Which debt do you pay first? Which one do you prioritize? Where do you put in the most of your money? that kind of thing. It was really helpful. And there are a lot of free and helpful blogs and podcasts out there that will help you. And I really encourage you to check those out, find the information in the way that it's taught that is most helpful for you, and empower yourself. Okay, you didn't get it as a kid, and you didn't get it as an adult, but you can still do it now. And you can still get your credit score in good shape. You can still pay down your debt. You can rid yourself of that shame, but you need to go and get the information that you need in order to set your strategies up. So Athena, tell me what happened with you this morning in chat and then putting together this one page that was really eye-opening for you.
Well,
you want
actually,
me to present?
Oh, you don't necessarily have, well, maybe, I think I'm going to talk with my hands a little bit.
Alrighty, here we go.
I'm just sending a tweet out to some of the people that have joined us live. We have Melissa Wilson and we have Simi, and we just wanted to say hello to you guys and thank you as always for being such an active, incredible contributing member of our community, asking very relevant questions, sharing very relevant life situations with us. It really helps people to feel like they're not alone, and we just want to thank you guys for being so brave. So I'm just finishing up this tweet. Send. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with you guys. This morning, and on the topic, on bullet point number 1 of our one page, which you can find at nomoreshameproject.com, and when you click on the tab that says downloadables, look for the one-page resource that says money and shame, and this is what I'm going to be referring to right now. So you guys probably have heard me talk quite a bit about my husband and like different people that we know that are very good friends of ours. So one of my husband's very, very good friends, his name is Papa Don. He's just sort of like a papa to everybody. He's an incredible man who is a mentor to many. He's in his 80s. He spends most of his time hanging out with young people that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, just spending time with them, mentoring them, teaching them life skills, teaching them how to build houses or balance checkbooks, or how to dig a hole for a post that needs to go in, or how to go on a mission trip, or how to reach out in the community and volunteer. He just is this wealth of information on almost any topic you could possibly think of. Well, when Papa Don comes into town, and he lives in California and he flies here to Hawaii quite often and spends a lot of time here. And I have had the privilege of actually spending some one-on-one time with him and cooking for him and having him in my home for dinner. And whenever he is here, I always learn so much. And he shared one time, and it really, really, really hit me like a ton of bricks this morning during chat. He shared one time about one of the favorite parts that he has about raising his children and being involved in his grandchildren's lives and his great-grandchildren and in the lives of other people around him is he loves to talk with them about money. He said that one of the favorite things that he remembers about raising his kids and helping his grandkids is he would give them a checkbook. He would give them a checkbook at a very, very, very young age, start them up an account, and teach them how to write checks and balance their checkbook at a very, very young age. 10% of their money would go into a savings. If they earned $1, 10 cents would go into a savings. Another 10 cents would go into like a tithe or something they wanted to give to charity. I'm a woman of faith. I'm a Christian. I believe in tithing and doing tithes and offerings at the ministry that I'm involved in. It helps send missionaries around the world, and helps, for instance, the tithes and offerings at my particular home fellowship where I attend here in Maui, Hawaii. My son needed a root canal, and I had no money. I was a single mom raising my child by myself back in 2009. My son was laying in the dark, weeping and shaking and rocking himself because he was in so much pain and he needed a root canal, and I didn't have any money. And it was very, very, very painful for me. He had a cold washcloth over his eyes, and I was just crying, feeling like a worthless mom. And it was very, very difficult for me. And in that moment, I had to just humble myself and cry out for help. And I reached out to my home fellowship, which is another benefit of being connected with people in the community and volunteering on a regular basis, because people will come alongside you and want to help you out if there are resources. Well, my home fellowship, my local church that I volunteer at, paid for my son to have a root canal. And it was a source of immediate relief for him. It didn't hurt him anymore for quite some time. This is 6 years down the road, and he's now having a whole bunch of different surgeries to try to continue to work on that same exact tooth that there was a problem with. But at the time, the immediate fix was that I reached out to my local community, and they helped me pay for the root canal for my son. And I needed that. It was something that I was desperate for. So when Papa Don, back circling all the way back around, when Papa Don shares here at my dinner table how his favorite part of raising his kids and helping out with his grandkids is teaching them about money, I can't help but sit there in not like a pity party way or anything, but I was just moved almost to tears because I crave that so much. I wish that someone would have sat me down and taught me that. I wish that I would have learned how to balance a checkbook, or how to apply for a credit card, or how to have 10 cents go into a community offering and 10 cents go into a saving, and then I would have 80 cents left to purchase whatever it is that I wanted. Because chances are, if I had learned that when I was little, I wouldn't have been in the situation where my son was rocking himself in the dark weeping, and I wouldn't have had to just have nothing and be desperate and had to reach out and ask for help. Which I'm not saying it's bad to reach out for help. I wished I had that skill. I wished I had that skill. I didn't have that skill. And it's part of the abuse cycle that has been perpetuated in my family. My son was never abused by me, but one of the latent effects of my abuse in not learning social skills or money skills is that I didn't have that skill to pass down to him. I never taught him how to manage his money. He's an overspender now. He gets money, he spends more than he has. He's maybe going to end up in a situation that is similar to the one that I was in. And it breaks my heart that I was not equipped with that skill so that I could break that cycle and I could give that to him as a gift. This is how you can be a good steward over your money. This is how you can save. This is how you can be equipped. So I know that this is a huge source of shame for so many people, but you are not alone. I am living proof that even though you are equipped with less than nothing, you can learn it somehow and then learn from other people who are 50 years older than you, or 40 or 50 years older than you, that just want to teach you a skill. I mean, I just glean so much wisdom off of this man because he's in his 80s and he just can't wait to just share stuff with me. So if you don't have access to anything else that we are going to share with you here today, I encourage you to reach out to someone in your community that is older than you, that is living a way that you admire, and you pick their brain and sit down with them and have a cup of coffee with them, because that's free. You can sit down with someone and listen to them, and they love to talk. People that are wise and that have good skills can't wait to share that with you, because that's just, they have it to give. They're not running on empty, seeking to suck the energy out of everybody around them, like so many people are that were equipped with nothing. They literally have an abundance of wisdom and kindness and love and patience and generosity, and they just can't wait to give it to you. So that was my soapbox on our one page, that I just need you guys to know that I'm 41 years old and I am learning. Every single day I am learning. And you can bet that I can't wait till I'm that 80-year-old person. And I got people that are watching these videos that are like, would you just talk with me about stuff? And I'm just not even going to be able to wait to talk with you. So if that's you, reach out.
Yes. You know, and we have probably close to about 15,000 people that we reach with our Roku TV broadcasts, our YouTube channel, our Twitter chats, our Facebook groups, all the materials that we put out. So
Fiber dust.
fiber dust, yes. So
Let's not forget about fiber dust.
I guarantee that if there's something that you're struggling with, we have somebody in our community who can help you. So don't give a second thought to reaching out. You don't have to go through this alone. And in fact, we probably have hundreds of people who you can connect with. So reach out, ask for help, and let us point you in the right direction. You don't have to do it by yourselves. So let's go back to the one page.
Hey, Jack and Simi are both here now, and so is Melissa.
Hey, Melissa.
Hi,
Jack. Here we go. Okay. I'm a little fumbly tonight because I don't have my usual stuff. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is a hard one. I admit it, it's hard. But if you can do this, woohoo! Work on separating your self-worth from money. And you can do this. One of the huge ways to do this is to surround yourself with people who don't value people for their income. Okay? And I guarantee they're out there. And the more that you surround yourself with people of this quality, the easier it will be for you to separate your self-worth from either how much money you make or what kind of job you hold. And the next one might seem a little strange, but it's find a career that you are passionate about. And the reason that we suggest this, actually there's a couple of reasons. First, when you find a career that you're passionate about, it makes you feel good. And although money is still an issue, it's not the primary issue anymore. It's that work that you do that makes you feel so good and just fulfills you. And also, I have to admit that I think there is some truth to the statement that when you're doing something that you love, success comes easier. I don't entirely believe in the whole statement that when you're out there doing what you love, money just flows towards you. But I can say that when you're doing something that you really love, it is easier to feel successful in whatever way that you define success. Okay.
And you're not only reliant on financial gain to fulfill you. If you're doing something you love, for instance, I absolutely love volunteering and helping others. Does that pay me anything? No. But those skills, the skills that I have to be other-centered and to volunteer and to help other people, and the problem-solving skills that I have, critical thinking, and there are many skills that I've come across in my life that I have nurtured and fostered into what are way more marketable skills than I would have had if I would have just been stuck somewhere that I didn't want to be. Because when you're stuck somewhere that you don't want to be and you're just waiting for a paycheck, what happens if that company goes out of business? Then you're like, oh my gosh, I just wasted how many years of my life waiting around for a paycheck, and it wasn't even secure. They're just going to go out of business. Now what am I going to do? I've spent the last however many years of my life miserable. If you're not going to make very much money, you might as well do it while being passionate about something and helping others, or whatever really just helps you want to wake up and get out of bed with a smile on your face, whatever that is.
Right. And along with that, develop the skills and talents that will give you a sense of accomplishment and pride. I admit, not all of us are going to have the option to find that perfect career. Sometimes it's not going to happen for a variety of reasons, whatever they may be for you. That doesn't preclude you from, like Athena was just talking about, doing volunteer work, developing a hobby, developing a skill outside of work that is really fulfilling for you. The message that I'm trying to share, that we're trying to share in this bullet point, is to develop your self-worth around other things other than money. If it's a hobby, if it's the fact that you train your golden retriever to be a pet therapist and you spend your Saturdays going to the pediatric oncology ward at the local hospital and making a huge difference in the lives of little children who are suffering, then go for it. Because when you feel fulfilled by things other than money, then money doesn't start to be as important. Now, I know that doing volunteer work is not going to buy groceries, and it's not going to put food on your table. So yes, I mean, I completely support if you have no option but to work a job to put food on the table that is challenging for you, then spend your weekends, spend your evenings finding something that is fulfilling and that will feed you so that you're not completely dependent for your worth on your job.
Yeah.
And like the last statement in this bullet point is, you are worth more than your bank account. The next one, if your capacity to earn is limited by mental health issues or other disabilities, look into careers that trade expertise for money rather than time for money. Now, this is a concept that I've only become familiar with probably in about the last year. For the most part in my life, I've traded time for money, right? So as a therapist, I traded 1 hour for $50, or I traded 1 hour for $30, whatever that was. But there are careers that you can do where you're trading expertise for money, meaning, yes, I will repair your television set, and that will be a flat fee of $100. And then you've traded your expertise for money, not your time. So if you only have a limited amount of time, or, there have been times when, because of my depression, I haven't been able to work a 40-hour week. It just isn't possible. And therefore, the fact that I trade my expertise for money rather than my time for money makes it easy for me to still maintain an income.
I want to add that a great place for this, we're in an era right now when skills and expertise are being widely distributed across the internet. And you can literally log on to a place like Fiverr.com, Fiver.com, and you can sign up to be a professional there. We lost the one page, Bobby.
I lost it. Now it's back.
Okay. And so Fiverr is a great place where you can actually, you can say, oh, well, I'm really great at doing blank.
Right.
And this is how long it would probably take me to do it. And I'll do that for $5.
Right.
And I mean, all it takes is for you to develop a reputation on a certain area, and people will start sharing your information and telling their friends about it. I mean, It's a very, very supportive community for what it is that we're describing here.
And there are things you can do on your own schedule in your own home. So for those who are perhaps dealing with some social anxiety, or your schedule is really wonky because of something that's going on in your life, in your personal experience, there are a lot of ways that you can develop a skill into something that will earn you a living. And many of them can be done at home with your laptop and some newly developed skills. So we really want to encourage you to look into that. Again, Athena gave such a great hurrah earlier in the show about how we need to empower ourselves despite what's happened to us. And we need to be creative if we have limitations. And if your limitations are you can't work a 40-hour week, or you can work 3 hours in the morning, and then your next 6 hours has to be worked from 10 until 4 in the morning, there are a lot of options out there. and you can do it. And again, if you need some help, if you need some ideas or suggestions, just let us know. Find healthy sources of acceptance and approval through community with supportive and encouraging people until you can be a source of encouragement, peace, support, and kindness for yourself. You know, Athena and I talk a lot about the concept of one of the reasons we love for survivors to be in community is because it allows us to model for one another. And it also allows us to practice new skills. So I will fully admit that there are times when I am not good at being a source of encouragement for myself. And when I step into our community, they are encouraging of me. And I can accept that as a gift. And I am reminded that I am worth encouraging. And so then I can pick that skill back up. But if I'm just stumbling around on my own, I can get stuck in that tailspin, and I feel discouraged, then I feel ashamed, and then I feel worse, and I feel worse and worse until I'm in that downward spiral that is a slippery slope. So we just cannot encourage you often enough and strongly enough to become involved with a community of supportive and encouraging survivors. And again, as we mentioned above, know that you are not alone in your struggles with money and shame. It is easy to slip back into shame since it is our default setting, and this is so true. And we have survivors that come to us and say, I thought I got all this done. I thought I'd worked this out, but now I'm right back in this place. What we have to remember is that when we're under stress, the first thing to go are the most newly acquired skills. Okay, and then when they're gone, where are you? Oop, you're right back on that default setting. And so we have to have that lack of shame firmly entrenched for a while before it's not our default setting anymore, and our new default setting becomes worth and value.
So, it's kind of like a thermostat.
Yes, it takes us a while to get that new set point actually set.
It's not a one and done, you guys. None of the stuff that we talk about on Trauma Recovery University is a one and done. You're never going to do one thing one time and have it be done with. It's not like a big ticket item like a refrigerator. Well, I purchased the refrigerator, don't need to buy one of those for another 20 years. I mean, you're not going to go through anything trauma recovery related and have it be a big ticket item that you just do once, save up. Oh, I'm saving up. Okay, I'm going to spend this and I'm going to be fixed. It's like, it just does not work that way, you guys. It just is not realistic at all. It's just like how you got to do laundry every week, or you need to do the dishes every day so that you don't get bugs in your house, or you need to continually dust or vacuum your floor or sweep or what have you. All of this stuff that we talk about, all of this work that we have to do to continually be regenerating those things in us that are reminding us that we are worthy, we are good, we are making good choices, we are making healthy choices, we're making a little bit of progress, small steps towards big progress. This is all hard stuff. We are not going to undo however many years it was that you were raised in an abusive environment. Maybe you were only raised in an abusive environment the last couple years when you were at home, when you were in high school. Maybe you were born into an abusive environment and you were being abused pre-memory from infancy. We don't know. We want to know. Reach out to us and let us know. But regardless of how many years it was, it doesn't get undone quickly, especially if it was done during your formative years. If you were under the age of 8, I'm even going to venture to say even between 8 and 13 is pretty hardcore. You got some crazy stuff that you need to work through. But if you were 8 or younger, when your abuse started, or there was neglect, or there was violence, or there was toxicity, or there was an eggshell environment where you weren't sure when you were going to get in trouble and when you weren't, there wasn't proper food, shelter, clothing, love, nurturing, life skills being taught to you, you cannot unbake that cake. You have to literally just tell yourself, I'm going to do this. I'm worth it. I don't have to just end up stuck. I do not have to stay stuck. I've been stuck. It really sucks. I don't want to stay stuck. I'm going to give it all I've got, and I'm going to reach my potential no matter where I come from, no matter what comes my way. I'm going to reach my potential because I matter, and I'm worth it. Sorry. Was that an amen? Was that an amen? That was, you were like, yeah, you were so excited you coughed. I could tell. I get going, you guys. I am so passionate about this. I cannot wait to meet you guys in Atlanta at our event at the beginning of June. Or I can't wait to meet you guys in Portland the last weekend in June. I just can't wait to just give you guys a hug and have Bobby and I just sit there and talk story with you and just share with you and answer all your questions. I just can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm just getting very excited. And honestly, we talked about it earlier, you guys. We don't have as many submissions this year for our anthology as we had last year. And this year we have a publisher from Seattle. This is big time. So if you love to write, even if it's just a poem, it doesn't have to be short, long, 5 pages, 1 page, 3 sentences, 100 words, 1,000 words, whatever you want. If you think it's beautiful and it's true and it's about you and it's about your recovery being around other people, please send it to us because we want to be published with you. And it's free. You don't have to pay. We want to give you an opportunity to be published. And you can pick a pen name if you don't want to use your real name, because some people are very, yeah, it can be scary. It can be I hemmed and hawed about using my real name last year on the stuff that I published. And I thought, oh, I'm going to be ostracized by my family. It's going to be horrible. Oh my gosh, they're going to just never speak to me again. And that kind of happened a little bit, but it didn't hurt as bad as I thought it would, you guys. So, but you know, I could just as easily pick a pen name this year and just publish some stuff. They'll never know. I mean, I just want to encourage you to submit, because we're going to be going through the process of choosing who's going to be published. And then there's editing, and it's going to be published again in November. No More Shame November. I can't believe it's right around the corner. Gosh, Bobby, time flies.
No. So.
I don't think I forgot anything. I'm just so excited. This is like a landmark day. It is 4:10 p.m. where I am here in Hawaii, and we're wrapping up this week's broadcast of Trauma Recovery University. And I am going to finish packing my suitcase and jump on a plane and be seeing you guys sitting next to Bobby broadcasting live next week. And we'll probably be recording some videos between then and driving Harriet crazy, sending her all kinds of videos. So
Harriet is our assistant who edits our videos.
Yes, and she is amazing. And I gave her a huge project yesterday, you guys. So just be cheering Harriet on. And Harriet, you're going to get this. And I just want you to know that we're cheering for you. I gave you a huge project yesterday. It was like an entire channel that we're putting on Roku TV, and all the thumbnails and all the transcriptions and all the details. But you can do it because you're amazing, Harriet. So be cheering Harriet on, you guys.
Let's screen share really quick our contact information.
Yes.
Because I want to get you on that plane.
I'm excited to get on the plane.
Connect with us on Twitter. Bobby Parrish, that's me, at Truth is Hers. Athena is at Athena Moberg. And together we are at, and this is wrong, we need to update this. It is Trauma Recovery U. Yes, yeah. We changed it, right?
Yeah, we did. Although I think if we really wanted to, I have a feeling that would still come to us.
Okay.
I can try to tweet it out, but we are Trauma Recovery U, TRAUMA, recovery, the letter U.
We used to be No More Shame Project. We just changed the name.
Yeah. So, we are still No More Shame Project, but we are also Trauma Recovery University because we do record every single week for all these different episodes for you to sort of go on this educational journey through your recovery. So, I wanted to mention, I'm so sorry, I wanted to mention that Jack mentioned earlier on the topic of finances that he and Simi actually, they share some finances, but they also have his and hers finances, which is a great choice. That is a very excellent, healthy choice. Not every couple thinks the same about that, but that sounds like a great choice for you guys. And I think that's it. Well, everybody's just excited. Jack and Melissa and Simi, everybody's just communicating with one another. Oh, and they're giving Harriet shout outs. They're all proud of her. Harriet has been mentioned a number of times. She's behind the scenes. Behind the scenes people rock. Yes, they do. Harriet, you rock. So, okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I know we're on our Connect with Us page.
Yes. If you would like to email us, you can email us at bobbylparish@gmail.com. Remember the L, or it goes to some strange other person. Athena@athenamoberg.com, and then nomoreshameproject@gmail.com. On Facebook, we have Trauma Recovery U Facebook page. Athena and I both have our personal Facebook pages, and then Athena has Athena Moberg fan page. Is that right, Athena?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I have Bobby Parish Coaching and Consulting. Websites, nomoreshameproject.com, or it can also be accessed at traumarecoveryuniversity.com, bobbyparish.com, and athenamoberg.com. Yay!
Yay!
One more here. Let's put up, oops, wrong way. There we go.
Yay! So this is how you guys can join us every single week. Well, you're already here because you're watching this, but if this is your first time viewing or listening, we want to invite you to join us every week. We always invite you to join us every week. We are on podcast platforms such as iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. But you can also tune in because this is a video broadcast. So find us on Roku TV, find us on YouTube by searching for Trauma Recovery University. And on Mondays in the morning in the US and in the evening in the UK, go onto Twitter and search for the hashtag CSAQT, and which stands for Child Sex Abuse Question Time. And you will find us having an open discussion about a topic. And then that night, which is where we are right now on a Monday evening recording this live, we talk about the exact same topic, but we record a live video Google Hangout, which renders to our YouTube channel and our Roku TV channel. And of course, Harriet handles all of that for us, and she's amazing. And Tuesday, Sex Abuse Chat. That is the OG. That's the original chat from Rachel and the OC and Bobby Parish. They founded that. Bobby, you want to tell them a little bit about Sex Abuse Chat as well?
Yes, it's Tuesday evenings, the same topic that we start on Monday in the morning, and then the evening we follow over. It is at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Is there standard for Eastern Standard or just Eastern? I don't know.
I don't know. I know I should. I don't even know. I should change that.
I don't know. I have no clue, really, to be honest. And that would be 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday for all of our UK peeps. We also have private secret Facebook groups for survivors of sexual abuse. If you would like to be added to one of those, please go onto Facebook and friend us on one of our personal accounts, either Dawn Athena Moberg or Bobby Parish, and then we will and then send us a message and let us know you'd like to join. We will ask you some questions, and we do that because we would need desperately to protect the safety and privacy of everyone who is in each of our groups. So we will, please don't take it personally that we might seem like we would interrogate you a little bit, but we do have to verify the veracity of your story. And again, that is to protect the safety and privacy of the people who are in our groups. So if you would like to join one of those groups, again, friend us and then send us a message.
Yes. I just want to mention, as we're coming back live, I know that a lot of you, you guys tune in every week and you share our videos and you retweet us, and we just want to thank you for your support. You guys are the entire reason why we do what we do. And if it wasn't for you, we would never even be here. We wouldn't even be doing this. You guys are the whole reason we do it. So I want to, yeah, and we love you. We just love you guys. You guys are amazing. You guys are like our family. We call you our family. So we sort of robbed that from Sprint PCS or T-Mobile or whoever used it first. But I wanted to just really quick, I know we didn't plan this, Bobby. I'm sort of going off the cuff here. I've been asked by several people in the CyberDust community if I would start up an abuse survivor room and invite people into the room. And the answer is yes, I have considered it, and I am looking forward to starting an abuse survivor room. However, just in CyberDust, if you guys are not familiar with CyberDust, go to cyberdust.com, cyberdust.com. It is an app that you can download to your smartphone. And I know we have some viewers right now that are tuning in live. We know that you don't have a cell phone that is a smartphone and you're on your desktop, and I am so sorry. But I got to tell you, for those of you who do have a smartphone, if you download this app, it is a private app that you can actually message, and then the message disappears. It is only there for 24 hours. If no one gets the message, it disappears. And even when they do get it, it disappears right after they read it, and it never hits a hard drive. It never hits anything. It is, the technology is so confidential, and it lends itself so perfectly to the nature of the work that Bobby and I do, that is so confidential, and people do have a lot of shame attached to their abuse, and the confidentiality is something that is very attractive. So if you have a smartphone and you would like to join our CyberDust community, just go to cyberdust.com/popular, find us. We're in the popular section. Look for our faces.
Search for our names.
Yeah.
I'm Barish and Athena, you're Athena Moberg, right?
Yeah, it's just our names, yeah. And so when I do start up the abuse survivor room for people to come in and encourage one another, I need to vet people in such a way that I understand that they really are who they say they are, or even if they're not like who they say they are because they're anonymous and their name is like ZPQ148, if there is any abusive activity or things that are said that are inappropriate, then they have to know that it's like literally a no tolerance policy, and I will be deleting them immediately. So I just haven't gone there yet because I really wanted to speak with people live in Dallas at the CyberDust event that I'm going to be attending. So and inquiring minds wanted to know. So I just needed to let you guys know that that's what's going on. Did I forget anything, Bobby?
I can't think of anything. Next week, you will see us both in the same room, sitting next to each other, talking. Next week, we are going to talk about self-care and hygiene, which is that can be a sticky wicket for survivors.
This is a huge topic, Bobby. In fact, this is a topic that has been being requested by many people. I get emails, tweets. I've actually gotten like a text message and a private Twitter message, all regarding the topic of hygiene. So it is, it's definitely, not only is hygiene difficult for survivors, but the shame attached to not having proper hygiene is almost more crippling than the not having the great hygiene. Like, it's just so, there's so many compounded layers of that, and it's just like it is with this money situation that we were talking about today. So,
and we talked about that this morning in chat, how complicated and layered these issues are. So even though we boiled it down to a one page, please know that we understand that they remain very complicated issues.
Yeah, it is. It definitely, we're not minimizing, I think, is what Bobby and I are wanting to make sure you hear. we want to make sure you hear loud and clear that anything that we're discussing, even if we are saying, oh yeah, this is all you're going to do and we're going to help you with this, and we're definitely not minimizing anything that you guys are going through. We understand how deep much of this runs and how sharp it is when we mention it, and it really cuts kind of deep and it's difficult to talk about. So again, as we always say at the end of every single one of our chats during Sex Abuse Chat on Tuesdays and CSAQ2 on Mondays, if this broadcast has been triggering for you in any way, we encourage you to reach out to our friends over at RAINN.org. That's RAINN.org. They have an excellent 24/7 round-the-clock chat feature for you, the survivor of rape, incest, abuse of any kind. Or you can also reach them. Bobby, I'm always afraid I'm going to get the 800 number wrong, but I believe it's 1-800-656-HOPE.
Right. That's correct.
Yay. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Trauma Recovery University. And we are so excited about next week. So thank you in advance for tuning in next week to the topic of personal hygiene.
Okay. Bye, everybody.